All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 81.
The battle has begun in earnest, and we've already lost more admirals. Steinmetz, he's gone.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We've got Reinhardt in a situation where he's able to somewhat predict Yang's moves, but for some reason he balked a bit at the end of last episode.
Yeah.
What was going on there? Something through his head. We're not exactly sure.
Yep.
Maybe Mariendorf will be able to suss it out.
Hopefully.
But in this situation here, battle has been joined. It's now full fleets on fleet situation here. Lots of tactics being employed. Lots of general strategy, basically forcing this into a situation where the Empire is losing a lot more than they're gaining.
Right. They're realizing that, oh, wait, did we get a little bit soft in victory? Like,
maybe.
Because even Mittermeier, his tactics, they were good, but his units weren't able to actually follow through on him. And now he has to actually leave the Brunhild to command directly, which hopefully doesn't mean death flags or anything, because that would be really bad.
That'd be really bad. But we also have our boy
Ruental.
He planned this strategy and passed it through the eyes of both Mittermeier and Reinhardt.
But it has been failing at every turn.
It's been failing at every turn, yeah.
Even though they both signed off on it. So
interesting. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Oh, okay. End of the long campaign.
Wow.
All right. Yang, you did good. You did well.
You did good.
Everyone in the Yang gang, y'all did fantastically. We ended up in a situation where the Empire used the strategy that they used in a retreating manner back in either Vermilion or...
Yeah, I think it was Vermilion, to keep Reinhardt safe,
Yeah. In an aggressive manner to keep their fleets from bumping into each other by utilizing one fleet as the forward most.
And just constant attack. Like perpetual wave
but then
of fire.
having one cycle out. So that they would actually be able to maneuver properly. And then also not suffer too much losses. That would make their fleet inoperable. Okay. But tactics-wise aside, this episode basically tested the limits of everyone's physical capacity. Reinhardt especially. Reinhardt's a unique case here. He's the leader of the universe. He's the
That's got to be a lot of pressure.
Well, yeah. But, we've never seen this really happen except, that one time in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, that one time where he caught fever, and, it's... And I think that was also kind of that had something to do with the whole idea of, Kierheist being dead, right? It was fairly... I think it was fairly soon after that. And so it was, showing the pressure that he was bearing this all kind of himself, not, Kierheist there with him, so... He didn't really know how to handle it properly.
That might be it, yeah.
And he still hasn't figured that out.
No.
Right? He's made some strides, but when it comes right down to it, he doesn't know how to take care of Reinhardt. So
right.
Okay. And then his subordinates are basically left to try and do that themselves, which means that they're not trying to help you conquer the known universe, right?
Correct.
They've got other things on their plate.
Yep, that is true.
So
that is true.
But the tactics from this episode I liked. There was a lot of examples of, I feel like, the chaos of battle and Bittenfeld's situation. Now, granted, I like Bittenfeld a lot. I think he's wonderful and entertaining and a lot of fun. But the idea that a small force ended up moving in really aggressively and they know how to work together really well, and then suddenly they have the advantage because it's a smaller, more maneuverable space,
and they actually have their only weakness being that they don't then have any good communication with other larger fleets that have to be there to support them to keep them from getting surrounded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
things like that where we are reinforcing the reasons why Reinhardt's admiralty are terrifying, right? Because we get plenty of examples of how Yang is a genius and how the people under him and everything like it's this perfect, like, you know, stars aligning kind of situation, right?
Yeah.
But there's a reason that Reinhardt is the ruler of the universe right now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just because of Reinhardt, it's also because of the people under him.
Yeah.
And
he's assembled them out over the course of a long period of time.
Right. And in a situation where Yang is still, for the most part, beating the Empire, since all things being equal, like, or things are very much not equal. So the fact that if Yang is able to keep it at even a stalemate, that means that he's
then he's
absolutely kicking ass.
Yeah.
It's really good to see the ways in which he can't predict things. Things just go wrong, right? Because it's battle, it's chaotic, and suddenly we lost someone. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea that a ship just we stopped receiving messages from it at some point.
Yep.
And everything's been so chaotic, we just expected that they were, you know, just engaged in really specific combat. The difference between Mittermeier's death, you know, was that the ship was still surviving enough for them to immediately get a message and send a message. But in this case, it was no. There was a big battleship out there, and we don't know what happened to it.
Yep.
It's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the terrifying thing of this vacuum of space, is that we see the fighters come up on like the smaller ships and just cut them to pieces. Just one line and boom, the ship's done. Battleship, you know, obviously has a lot more staying power.
Right.
But
more
when you're in
fleets
on fleets just pummeling each other for days on end, we
we
don't know what point it would have happened.
Right. One lucky hit is all it takes. There's, with the better the ship is, the less likelihood, you know, the harder it is to get that lucky shot. But it can still just be that lucky shot.
Yeah, and I love that it happened to a character that, while we didn't have as much emotional attachment to Fisher specifically,
like as a person,
right, this was a character that we had always just kind of like seen there.
Yes,
he's just standing there beside Yang before Mercats, like before all this stuff. He's just been the steady Eddie.
Yep.
He's in some ways even more steady than Attenborough, because Attenborough is kind of the one that's like the peer, the emotional kind of young friend, you know, who's gonna, you know, complain and have, like, you know, all that stuff there. But this is the old grizzled veteran who's just been there all this time, and now he's gone.
He's gone, and the function that he played in the fleet is something that can be felt, because one of the things that that Yang has had as an advantage that Reinhardt hasn't, in a lot of situations, is that Yang's fleet doesn't make mistakes. They're like on like the little, like, moment by moment, right? Their micro is much better, which makes sense because their force is smaller. But the idea that no, it's not just because Yang and Reinhardt's strategy, I feel like, are fairly comparable. Even if Yang is a bit better, it's not some big differential, right?
It's not really.
But the idea that because of the smaller forces, and that Yang had this one guy who is like, no, I make sure that this is running like a well-oiled machine. I make sure that all of the micro movements and stuff, that the communication is quick and fluid, and like, and that you don't have issues like Mittermeier had in the previous episode of, hey, I've got a great tactic, but I can't implement it. They fumble the execution, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think when it comes to tactics, that's where Yang basically had Reinhardt in spades there, is that strategy-wise, Reinhardt can always just pull everything back and go, what's the best strategy? I immediately know what it is.
Right.
Does not take a lot of, you know, great effort on his part. And Yang's like, shit, they're going to adjust, and now it's going to be basically down to how well I can implement these tactics. I don't have a strategy that's going to be any better than what I'm already doing, so here we go.
Okay.
All right. And it came down to basically trading blows, and the Empire traded better in this case than Yang did.
Yeah, even though they lost a ridiculous amount of ships.
Even though they lost a ton of ships, it doesn't matter when it comes down to the fact that they had like 100,000 plus ships.
Yeah.
And even if they lost a quarter, or maybe closer to 20% or something, because I think they had more than 100,000, like a lot more. Yang's lost quite a bit too, percentage-wise as well. And also now the reveal basically that Fisher, the reveal that Fisher was this key, and they don't really have a natural replacement for him, is something that I feel like they're feeling on both sides here. There's a couple of key figures on each side that have had their names repeated as like thorns in the sides of the enemy.
Yeah.
Mercat's has nearly flawless fleet movements with regards to how he interacts with suppressing and just completely derailing attacks from the Empire. He's done that multiple times now. Mueller, on the side of the Empire, has had multiple times where he keeps the Kaiser like
nice and cozy,
completely safe, to the point where they can't utilize the Kaiser being on the battlefield as like a point of pressure, where then their fleets have to adjust in a bad like tactical way. So Mueller cutting off Yang in that way. There you go.
Yep.
We've also got in this case, I would say in some ways it's more Mariendorf really than any of the Admiralty specifically, but kind of having this moment of being able to check Reinhardt and be like, hey, hey, you need to take care of this stuff. Like, I will say this stuff to you.
Yeah.
And she keeps getting promoted. She got promoted again this episode.
Oh yeah. And the fact that Reinhard, well, he didn't listen to what she said, right?
He listened, he just didn't implement.
He had already decided what he was going to do, and she wasn't going to change his mind. He still acknowledges the whole thing of your candor is something that I definitely value, and the fact that he says that first is really good, because it would be so easy for on a moment where Reinhardt's just a bit emotional or something like that, he makes a comment, he brushes her off or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe they're discouraged from making those comments in the future. Reinhardt very much made it clear that it's the right now I'm not in the mood, but thank you for doing this, because again, this is
I'm not always going to be listening, but
but I do value your feedback.
Yeah. I think though that she's at this point though where she would give up on.
Oh, definitely not.
Because
right.
of some snide comments.
Oh yeah. But I love that even when he's off his game, Reinhardt is still reinforcing the behavior, even if he's not reinforcing this instance of the behavior. So
I guess. So we've now got a situation where everyone is dropping dead.
Yep.
Dead and tired.
Sleep is very similar to death.
And if you wake me, I will have you executed by firing squad for inciting a revolution.
Right.
And they're just like, okay. They drop him at the door, like, bye. Yeah.
Yep. And even Bayerlane, with him being all like, oh, this is so, this is improper and all of this stuff, and okay, they're just sleeping in the halls.
Yeah, I don't think he was indignant. I think he was more just like, oh, God, imagine if we were attacked right now.
Right, yeah. Like, we would be totally helpless.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Mercatz goes to his room and he gets in the elevator, he just... like, the numbers that they throw out in this show as far as, like, how long the battles last, that's the thing that always blows me away. Because it always makes me think of, like, that one episode of Battlestar Galactica where it's like, okay...
Every 23 hours.
Right. It's okay, all right, we just got to keep doing this, Can't stop, just keep pressing these buttons and do it while being mentally alert enough to make sure that you're not messing anything up.
Right.
Because that means death.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. As soon as that's done, you're so hopped up on adrenaline that you don't realize how exhausted you are.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're just like, my body is going to shut down now.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Because the human body is incredible in what it can do when it's put under pressure. The thing is that the human body also gives out before it's ready to tell you sometimes, if you keep it constantly under that state of pressure. It's basically like fleet movements. There's points where you're like, when did my hand stop functioning? Where's Fisher?
Yeah.
Where's the Shiva? My hand doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Oh no. My vision's just, I'm sleeping now. And then
right. Like, it's the whole thing of like when you're nodding off and you don't even realize that you're nodding off, And then that continues for like 10 minutes until you actually fall asleep.
So I one time was driving.
Oh God.
Yeah. I one time was driving and it was really, really late. Really, really late. On this very dark, lonely kind of 2-lane road. Just going. It's like 1 a.m. And I start to nod off and I'm like, oh no. No. So first thing, pinch my arm really hard, pain, and I'm like, oh, okay. That lasts for about 15 seconds, and then and then I'm like, oh no. So I start to veer off the road, and I hit the like sidewalk equivalent kind of cement like kind of divide on the road there, and my car goes, you know, like hits the thing, and it makes this whine sound, you know. That triggered my adrenaline response so hard.
I'm about to die.
So hard that I course corrected back onto the road. Didn't wink off at all.
Just like eyes just, glued open.
Just solid.
Yeah.
And it was only like 15 minutes from home at that point. But once I got home, I experienced a bit of what they were having there. And it was once I like turned off the car, on my keys, stepped out, and, you know, went to go inside, just this sudden, just enveloping
like
blanket.
a heavy blanket.
Of tiredness just came on me, and I barely made it to my bed. Like, just barely. And I wasn't up for, you know, that long either way.
I want to, at some point, go through this episode and just be like, okay, it started here. This is when their break ended, right? And, you know, and Poplin talked about getting the 20 hours of sleep or something like that. I mean, Attenborough.
We can literally go back to the beginning of the episode and note that it was, I think, at like May 9th or something. May 6th. But at the end of the episode, they said that it was like the 16th or something. The 18th. So 12 days.
Oh, my God.
12 days of combat. And I think there were 2 key rest points.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's ridiculous.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
2 key moments of rest. So average,
4 days, you know.
On average,
4
day increments. Yep.
Yeah. That's
and you did that 3 times. Yeah.
Back to back. Yep. But hey, reality is stranger than fiction. And while this is all part of like the sort of the grandeur and the craziness of, hey, let's show kind of the horrors of war. Is that why are these people fighting each other, right? But they're, you know, that you could have people dying from exhaustion theoretically without just on the battlefield, you know.
True.
But I could see things like this happening.
Yeah. Also, another little note thing here. Yang gets a bit philosophical in the middle of the fight, talking about the idea of, wait, Mueller, he's doing all this for Reinhardt, talks about the late admirals that have died. It's like, I don't know if they were fighting necessarily for all those things.
Yeah, they didn't do anything like that for the old regime.
Yeah.
You know?
So
it was just Reinhardt.
Huh. So does that mean that Julian is fighting ultimately for me and not for any ideals or democracy or anything like that? No, don't think about that. He looks over to Shonkov and he's like, yeah, I know why he's fighting. And he just says like, damn it, you know, like, get out of my head. Yeah, exactly. You can totally see Yang's thought process in the gaps when he's not speaking, and it's wonderful.
The philosophizing that happens when you're like sleep deprived. Sometimes
he wasn't that sleep deprived at that point.
That's true. That was, he wasn't that tired.
That was in the beginning of the episode where he was kind of like, yeah. I don't know. Should I be thinking about it? No. Don't think about this.
Stay focused on what you're doing.
We're like literally having tens of thousands of people die every second right now.
Right, exactly. You need to be on top of your game.
Yeah, exactly. But that is an interesting point. The idea that, you know, in a lot of ways, if you think about why people, like, we make the joke, or not the joke, really. No, this is just the harsh reality of jobs. People quit managers. They don't quit jobs.
Yeah.
Which means that when people are passionate about their jobs, it's not just the fact that the thing that they're doing is something that they're passionate about. It's the people they're doing it with. Mm-hmm. And
best teacher, side story, but best teacher I ever had in college was this chemistry teacher, physics teacher that physics during summer quarter, which is shorter. And it was awesome because she basically said, y'all are crazy for trying to do a 6-credit class during summer quarter. Oh. So I'm going to make myself available to you as much as I can, but buckle up, Buttercup, because this is going to suck, right?
Nice.
And that quarter was ridiculously busy, right?
Right.
But
it was made better.
But it was made so much better. Like
right.
I had a better time with that quarter, even though it was busier than some other quarters, because I knew like, yeah, this person's on my side here.
Nice.
Right? Like it was great.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, guys, the end of the Great Campaign, Reinhard is dropping a message of terms of ceasefire.
Right. Let's talk.
While Reinhard is sick, I wonder though what is bringing this on, because the immediate thought I had was, well, maybe we shouldn't trust this as much. Yeah.
Right. The Mittermeier and Ruhenthal and Mariendorf were talking like, can't let them know that Reinhard's sick.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so because we didn't see the circumstances upon why Reinhard wanted to send the message, we have to leave that up in the air until the next episode. But one of the things that is a little bit like surprising here is that if this is the end of the Great Campaign, but then they want to talk about ceasefire, that means they're actually going to have a ceasefire.
Right.
Right?
And conversation about it. So Reinhard must have been involved to some degree.
Yes, exactly. Which means he just bounced back up from this whole thing probably really, really quickly. But if he did, what changed?
Yeah, right, because
what adjusted in his mind?
Right, because I'm guessing what happened with regards to the sickness, because he was in complete denial of it anyways, right? Mariendorf just got a general inkling of it, but I'm guessing that at some point he basically collapsed, right? It's the my body shuts down, right? And then it's the all right, I have to sleep, and then maybe that broke his pride a little bit, and then that's when he sends the whole thing of the ceasefire, and that's as a way to give himself the chance to recover. Because while Reinhard would be disappointed in his own body that it gave out, he would definitely roll with the punch and be like, okay, well, if this is the case, then what I want to do is, all right, I'll send out terms for a let's talk ceasefire,
Yeah,
but
I don't think this is what's going to happen. Just prefacing that, but I want to throw it out there that Reinhard might literally be like, well, I'm a big brain here. Send out terms for a ceasefire. If Yang waits more than 6 hours, attack immediately.
Sure. Oh, that would be genius.
Wouldn't that be genius?
Yeah.
But there's no way that's going to happen.
No, yeah, totally not going to happen. But
because of the meta stuff of this episode literally being called the end of the Great Campaign.
Right. Yeah. So, and the talks of the ceasefire are probably going to go well.
Yeah, probably.
Right. Which also makes sense then, because if we're coming up on the point where we'll probably get that fourth OPED, what's the turning point in the story? Originally, I thought it might be like the death of Reinhard, right? But if the battle is going to actually end here, then that is a new stage for the galaxy.
What I think it is that it's the death of Reinhard's dream of having the whole universe.
Sure.
Or having the whole galaxy, let's be real here, under his thumb.
Yeah.
And he basically concedes this for now.
Yeah.
And basically says, this doesn't need to be my vision. I'll leave this up to someone else. And I think honestly, if he nearly died here from fatigue and like a really bad set of something that came on him when his immune system was down, I could see him readjusting a lot of his priorities and being like, I'm going to go see my sister.
Maybe.
I would hope so. This is something I've been waiting for a long time now. I want these two to go see each other so badly.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But y'all, that's all I have. Yeah.
The last thing I have to say about this episode is that, okay, the fact that we got that Mittermeier death scare, that was dirty.
That was very dirty.
But Ruhenthal and Reinhard, they were, let's just say,
shared a moment.
They shared a moment.
Yeah.
Because they were both shook by it, right? Like solar plexus punch, right?
Yeah.
But Reinhard grabbed
Ruhenthal
grabbed Reinhard's chair, right?
Which for
support, right? But Reinhard then looks up at him like
that sudden movement
gave
him pause.
That came in my direction, right? It gave him pause
in his peripheral, like that idea that
there's a dangerous animal over there, and wait, what?
I'm watching it.
And Reinhard was like watching Ruhenthal the entire time until like something else like got his attention. Then he looked away. I'm guessing that Reinhard basically figured out there that, oh, if Mittermeier dies, that would be a close equivalent to Kierheist dying, but for Ruenthal.
Yep.
And Mittermeier is the thing that keeps Ruenthal's ambitions in check.
Yep.
So if Mittermeier dies...
He's coming for me.
He's coming for me.
Yep.
Because what else will he have?
Mm-hmm.
And if we get that on top of the whole idea of if Reinhard does a ceasefire and everything, Ruenthal might not like that. You know?
I actually really think that Ruenthal wouldn't make a move off of the ceasefire.
Oh, yeah?
Personally.
Not that he would off of just that, but like that might be a contributing factor where it's is Reinhard truly the golden god that I originally thought him to be?
Oh no, I think he still is, because the way he responds to the idea of the way he's like he can only find sustenance off of the
he does
war.
still
like,
very much glorify him. Yeah,
he's like this magnificent being,
right? But his body is not able to keep up with his desires. His
spirit's fire burns so brightly that his body cannot.
Like Reinhard is basically Fëanor. Like
it's true,
and it's great.
Yeah, it is great. But yeah. Y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.